What is going on, my fellow movie nerds and geeks alike? Recently, during mine and Vicky's live stream where we were discussing and ranking almost 50 Giallo movies, I came to the realization that a lot of the people that probably watch our channel have no idea what Giallo movies even are. I even was getting DMs and texts from my mom and Vicky's mom asking like where they should start, like what is a good Giallo movie that they can watch? And it got me thinking, maybe I should do a video where I explain to our viewers what I think the 5 best Giallo movies are to start your journey with. 5 Giallo movies to get you started on the genre, you know, easy movies to watch if you're unfamiliar with it, just to kind of dip your toes in, you know, get a feel for it, see if it's something that you want to pursue. And something I really like about videos like this is that there's a ton of these already out there, but everyone's is gonna be different. And I think that's awesome. I think it's great that there's gonna be a lot of different opinions of where you should start and different ideas of that nature. So, you know, this is just my opinion. It's not correct, it's not wrong, it's just what, in my opinion, is the best place to start. Now, for the uninitiated around here, Giallo has a very broad definition, but the folks over at Disperse Home Media made this beautiful graphic with the definition that I find the most endearing and perfect for my explanation of what I believe Giallo to be. A genre of Italian thriller or horror film typically involving a murder mystery and characterized by graphic violence, eroticism, an atmospheric, sometimes dreamlike blend of suspense and horror elements, and often a prominent, intense music score. The word Giallo is Italian for yellow. In regards to the word Giallo, meaning yellow in Italian, the whole Giallo genre technically got started by a bunch of pulp novels with bright yellow covers as early as the 1920s. It wasn't until the 1960s where Mario Bava came along and introduced it to the world of film. Now, without further ado, in my blathering on about nonsense and going off on tangents, let's get started on my list of the 5 Giallo films that I think are perfect for the person looking to get started on the genre. My first pick is Mario Bava's 1964 masterpiece, Blood and Black Lace. A masked, shadowy killer brutally murders the models of a scandalous fashion house in Rome. What's really funny about this one is it had such a small budget that Bava himself mounted a camera on children's wagons to get all the tracking shots. In my opinion, this is realistically the first Giallo as we know it. Technically, the first one is the woman who knew too much, but this is the first one to implement all the tropes that we came to know and love, where we don't know who the killer is, he's dressed almost in all black, he's got black gloves on, and he's killing people with, like, blades and all that. And why I believe this is a great movie to start with is it is just the first of its kind, and it's really easy to watch. It's perfectly slow-paced. In the 60s, you know, everything is kind of a little slower paced than it is now, and all the Technicolor uses of the blood, like, it is bright, shining, amazing. The story's really easy to follow. The kills are brutal, but really funny. And the killer is the killer as we have come to know and love as Giallo Killer. He's wearing the black gloves, he's got the black hat on, he's got a black jacket, his face is covered. It is gorgeous and really awesome to see. And come on, it's like the first of its kind. Now, if you do want to watch Blood and Black Lace, you could own the Arrow Video 4K, which is beautiful, by the way, and it's still available, and God, it really shines with the Technicolor blood on this. It is so gorgeous. It is also available on Tubi and Amazon Prime for those who, you know, just want to stream it. If you like Blood and Black Lace, I mean, you could also check out Bava's a slew of other awesome movies like Bay of Blood and Black Sunday and all that. This is just the one I particularly like in the Giallo genre. And next up on my list is going to be Dario Argento's Deep Red. A jazz pianist and wisecracking journalist are pulled into a complex web of mystery after the former witnesses the brutal murder of a psychic. This is, in my opinion, Dario Argento's finest work in the Giallo genre. It is him firing on all cylinders. It's him taking everything he learned from his first few films and just mashing it into an amalgamation of wondrous fucking colors and amazing shots and great killers, great reveals, great twists, lots of blood and gore, and crazy scary moments. You know Dario Argento from films like Suspiria, where there is just beautiful color, beautiful film work where like you almost get a POV of the killer following around, you know what I mean? You get crazy gore scenes, you get beautiful backdrops of like the city of Rome, and like he has this wonderful way of just making a small space seem grandiose. And this one in particular has a lot of scary moments and funny moments too. Like there's a scene where there's like a dummy running into the screen and you're just like, what the hell is going on? But it's terrifying. You get bodies falling out of walls. Now what's great about Deep Red also is the score. It is the first time Dario Argento reached out to Claudio Simonetti, who fronted the band Goblin, and they became frequent collaborators. Goblin essentially changed the soundtrack game with their amazing scores that they would produce for Argento, and they would go on to produce some of the most iconic horror movie scores of all time, and Deep Red is the first time we get to see this beautiful collaboration, and the score is just so catchy and amazing. You can't help but find yourself humming it through the whole movie. They are just incredible, and I mean, Claudio's even still touring as Goblin to this day alongside screenings of these movies. Their collective works with Argento are just timeless. What sets Deep Red apart from his earlier work is the score with Goblin. It is just beautiful and meshes so well, and they'd go on to work together for years to come. This is also the first time we see Daria Nicolodi, who is, rest in peace, is a frequent Dario Argento collaborator. Anytime you see a direct close-up of the gloved killer, those are actually Argento's hands in the gloves, which is really funny, and I actually just learned that in researching. God, is it beautifully framed and shot and just incredible. And, you know, if you like this one, you could even dive further down the rabbit hole of Suspiria. You could dive into The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. You could dive into The Cat of Nine Tails. You could watch Tenebrae and Opera, and just... he has just a beautiful catalog of films to check out. But to get started, this is a great place to start. Now, you could own this beautiful Arrow 4K or Blu-ray if you want, but if that's, you know, physical media maybe isn't your thing and you're more into streaming, this one is available on Amazon Prime, Pluto, and Shudder. And Shudder is, of course, AMC Plus as well, so you could watch it there also. And next up on my list is The Strange Vice of Mrs. Warde from 1971, Sergio Martino. An ambassador's wife discovers that one of the men in her life, either her husband, her ex-boyfriend, or current lover, may be a vicious serial killer. Now, why I have this one on the list is because it just differs so greatly from the others on this list. This one is more of like a crazy love triangle, which if you dive further into the Giallo subgenre, there are lots of these movies that are very sexually driven, erotic even, where the killer's motives are surrounded by naked women and people just like having sex with one another. This one just so happens to be my favorite of that kind of movie. I'd be remiss if I didn't include a movie on this list that had the beautiful Edwige Feneche in it.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Yes. And also George Hilton, who both were mainstays in this genre if you dive deeper into their films. And Sergio Martino is just an amazing director in this genre. All his works are vastly different from one another, so he is great to watch. Just like see, like, wow, how did he make this one and this one? They're both so tonally different. But this one is just a lot of fun, you know? It just involves a housewife, essentially, who is just bored and just like going along while people are getting murdered and like sleeping with this guy. She's worried about her ex coming to kill her and killing all her friends, and her husband is an ambassador. Where the hell is he? Why is he leaving this beautiful woman home alone? He should pay her more attention. And this movie just has amazing kills, an amazing twist, like 4 twists at the end with just brutal consequences, and you just do not see them coming. It is awesome, and I cannot recommend this one enough. And this one was originally titled Blade of the Ripper in the US. I don't really know why. Strange Vice of Mrs. Warde is almost more inviting to me. Blade of the Ripper just makes it sound like a slasher movie, which this really isn't. There is lots of brutal kills in it, but if you like this one, I highly recommend checking out Sergio Martino's other movies like Torso or The Suspicious Death of a Minor, Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key. All of his movies are great, and some of my favorites, like The Case of the Scorpion's Tail, amazing. Definitely check those out if you're into the strange vice of Mrs. Ward. Now, you could get the beautiful disc from Severin Films, but if physical media is not your thing, you can stream this one on Tubi, Amazon Prime, Shudder, which is, of course, AMC Plus, so stream it there if you want to check this one out. Next up on my list is Dario Argento's Phenomena. A young girl who has an amazing ability to communicate with insects is transferred to an exclusive Swiss boarding school, where her unusual capability might help solve a string of murders. Now, I know. 2 Argentos on this list.
Bruh.
You know, he is considered the maestro of Giallo cinema, and that's for good reason. All his movies are fantastic and beautiful, like they're all visually stunning, and this one and Deep Red and Tenebra and Opera are no different. He is the maestro for a reason. His movies are fantastic and like an experience to watch. They are just, even when the storyline's slow, they're just so beautiful to look at that you can't look away. Now, this one kind of is late in the Giallo genre because the Giallo genre really was taking off like the mid to late 60s, early 70s. But Argento kind of kept the steam going and just kept making, Giallos all the way up until current day. So he is one of the very few who kept it going, whereas a lot of it fizzled out and turned into the slasher genre as we knew it. This one I included on the list because it differs a lot from the rest of them. This one has like a supernatural element to it, which, you know, there's a lot of supernatural Giallos out there, but this one to me almost does it the best. Another reason why I put this on the list is it is going to be the most easy to watch for a lot of people maybe in the US because of the American characters. You have Jennifer Connelly in this. You have Donald Pleasance, who of course is Dr. Loomis from the Halloween movies. So like just that American presence might, you know, keep you almost more interested in this storyline, whereas most of these use, you know, Italian actors because they're Italian cinema. This one of course has Daria Nicolodi again, who is a frequent Argento collaborator. We have Michelle Soavi in here, who is a great filmmaker who made such films as Cemetery Man and The Sect, so it's fun to see him in an acting role. A funny story in regards to this film is Jennifer Connelly actually had part of her finger severed by the ape in this movie and had to have it surgically reattached after filming was wrapped for the day. This one also has the Goblin score. Alongside the Goblin score in this one, we also have like crazy heavy metal. Like we have Iron Maiden and Motorhead in this, which is insane. And like hearing that music when like the killer is killing people in this is just bizarre, but also really awesome. But this movie is wild and out there, and the twist of the killer at the end is so insanely bizarre and batshit. One of those movies that is so bizarre that it needs to be witnessed. And of course, it's got Argento's patented crazy color palette, wild POV shots, and just amazing framing alongside that beautiful Goblin score. It's one that can't be missed, and I highly recommend checking it out, especially if you're new to the genre. Now, you can get the beautiful 4K of this or Blu-ray from Synapse and Arrow. Or, if streaming is more your thing, this one is available on Tubi, Amazon Prime, Shudder, and AMC Plus. And last on my list is 2014's The Editor by Adam Brooks and Matthew Kennedy. A film editor gets embroiled in a string of murders. Now, why I think this is a great one to get started with is it's comedic. It is poking fun at all the tropes of the Giallo genre in a satirical way, because it really like pokes holes and makes fun of all the tropes we know and love from these movies, but like almost in an homage-y kind of way. We've got crazy lighting, and it takes place on a film set. There's lots of nudity, but it's all in a funny satirical way. Like think the same vein as like Not Another Teen Movie or Scary Movie, but this one particularly is just making fun of Giallo films. It's fantastic, hilarious, but at the same time, you are watching a Giallo movie, showing you all the plot holes within the Giallo genre. It is so hysterical, so amazing, and bloody and gory, and just a hell of a fun time. It's so fun to follow around like a film editor working on a Steenbeck back in like the 70s, late 60s, who accidentally cuts his hand off with this film splicer, or well, his fingers, not his hand. It is just such a fun ride, and it really makes you appreciate the Giallo movies that you've watched before or after, because you're like, oh yeah, I get it, the cops are all idiots in these movies, and it's beautiful. The homages are just filled throughout this movie. There's even like a moment where there's a character reading a book called The Three Mothers, which of course is an homage to Dario Argento, who went on to film the Three Mothers trilogy of Suspiria, Inferno, The Mother of Tears. It's just beautiful to witness, and if you've watched a few, this is a great one to check out and be like, yeah, I don't like the genre, but this one really nails why I don't like it, or it perfectly exemplifies why you do love it. Now, this one is available from Shout Factory, Scream Factory, if you want to own a physical copy on Blu-ray, but it is also available on Tubi and Amazon Prime for streaming. Now, if I could throw these in almost as an honorable mention for the gorehounds out there, I would say check out any of Lucio Fulci's Giallo movies. In particular, the New York Ripper is just insane. There's scenes where eyeballs are getting cut with razor blades. I mean, you could watch Don't Torture a Duckling, where, God, he's got kids getting murders. It is insane. You could check out Dario Argento's later Giallos, like Tenebrae, which is just insanely bloody and gory, or Opera even, where he's got a woman who's got needles just taped under her eyes so she can't blink while witnessing a murder. Mario Bava's son, Lamberto Bava's movie, A Blade in the Dark, which has scenes of intense violence. But, you know, those aren't on my list to get you started, but if you want to watch movies that are just fucking blood-soaked and filled with insane violence, go check those out. Now, if you did tune into our live stream, you know how we have the tier list for all the rankings. Well, Vicky and I have watched a couple more since the last live stream, so I just want to throw it into our tier list for you guys. So we watched A Dragonfly for Each Corpse, incredible Giallo starring the great Paul Naschy, where a killer is killing all these people in wonderfully inventive ways. We got a guy killing people with samurai swords, the typical knife. He kills someone with an umbrella knife. He kills someone even performing like necrophilia at one point. It is insane and just a lot of fun. This one I am going to shove right in the good tier because it was just a hell of a lot of fun. And another one we checked out recently was Eyeball by Umberto Lenzi. This one is also a lot of fun. It follows like a bunch of tourists on a trip through Spain where they're all on a tour bus and all of a sudden they start getting killed one by one. And what's cool about this one is the killer is removing the people's left eyeball. Super intense and violent and a lot of fun. The twist is very interesting. This one's going in good for me too. Now, if you missed out on Vicky and I's stream where we ranked and talked about almost 50 of these movies, do please check the description below. I have it linked down there, and you can just maybe decide for yourself off of our opinion what you should check out next. If you do really find yourself loving the genre like Vicky and I have, Arrow has put out these beautiful Giallo Essentials box sets where they have 3 movies in each set, and you also have the Forgotten Giallo series that Vinegar Syndrome has been doing, which have just amazing movies. They're all a lot of fun, and Shudder and Tubi have amazing lists of all these movies that you could check out. After you check out this video and maybe check out our live stream, all these movies are at your disposal to check out. Maybe our opinion will sway you on some. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you could do me a favor and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you like talking horror, talking Giallo, talking movies, talking TV, talking collectibles, skateboarding, all that nonsense. Hopefully we'll see you guys all soon. Until next time, adios. Fuck.